prop queen edges of the day. As I mentioned, Rasul Douglas, this was when everyone who subscribes to the newsletter, remember the newsletter, thepropqueen.com, is my long list. It's not like I don't bet every prop of the prop queen edges, but I just put the prop queen edges into a newsletter, send them out. Free subscribers get my favorite bet of the day every day. And then all the others, I don't bet all the others, but I do bet some of them. And you can see that at Pickett Sports at Ariel Epstein. My favorite prop of the day, if I was allowed to freaking bet it, Rasul Douglas over 4.5 total tackles. Since the start of 2024, Douglas is averaging 5.5 total tackles in his last 10 primetime games. He's gone over in 8 of the last 10. If you want to zoom out, and I'll zoom out for you, go to props.cash, show you this nice little graph. Desktop. Rasul Douglas. Hold on, let me just tweet that we're doing prop queen edges of the day. Prop queen edges of the day on now for Monday Night Football. Rasul Douglas. This is Rasul Douglas. You could even backtrack to when he played for Green Bay, when he played for Buffalo, now Miami. Douglas has gone over in 7 of his last 10 road primetime games. Against Pittsburgh specifically, 64% of corners have gone over their tackles plus assist prop, which is why I was targeting a cornerback today. Because of majority of cornerbacks, I was looking at all the positions. Cornerbacks go over the most against Pittsburgh. So I would go over Rasul Douglas, 4.5. Tua Tagovailoa overs. I know that sounds absolutely insane, but I'm going to show you why it's not so crazy. I'm going to go with the over pass attempts, but I'm going to go down the list. So first off, his completions is 18.5. When you look at Tua's completions, again, I'm just going to keep showing you the props.cash. Tua's completions right here on the road in prime time. So Tua's only road primetime game this year was at Buffalo. He finished with 22 completions. He's gone over in 10 of his last 10 road primetime games. He's gone over in 7, averaging just under 20 completions a game. Pittsburgh's tied for the most completions per game allowed at 24. 62% of quarterbacks have gone over their completion prop against Pittsburgh this year. I'm not telling you to bet it, but I'm telling you that the unders aren't necessarily the best play against Pittsburgh. But I like the pass attempts better because I told you this all the time. I do not like betting over completions so much. I've done it a little bit, but I don't love it because completions also requires a receiver to do the job. Why would I bet on 2 players for the prop of 1 when I could just bet on 1 player? Now, under completions make sense because I'm saying that the likelihood of a quarterback and a receiver connecting doesn't happen so often. When it comes to pass attempts, I like it much better to bet overs because I only have to rely on the intent being there for Tua to throw. Look at how much he throws on the road in prime time. I mean, that is for 8 straight games on the road in prime time, over 27.5 pass attempts. It even went up to 29.5 in some spots. 31 is what Tua averages for pass attempts on the road in prime time. Pittsburgh allows the second most pass attempts per game at 38. 77% of quarterbacks this year have gone over their pass attempt prop. You don't think they know that TJ Watt's out? Of course they know TJ Watt's out. And with TJ Watt out, maybe, just maybe, they can attack the pass game a little bit more. I mean, it's going to really F up their defense. That is like the heart and soul of their defense right there for the Steelers is TJ Watt. Pressure might not be up front as much. You don't have to worry too much about him picking you off. Middle of the field, they're going to have to fix that with the linebackers being out. And Miami, Tua doesn't even like to throw the ball that deep. They're going to cut the field up. So if they're going to be cutting the field up with all these slant routes and all of these short passes because they don't want Tua to throw the ball too far, TJ Watt missing from the middle of the field is going to be a huge loss. Tua going to attempt to throw. And he's got some pass catching backs. The passing yards, I wouldn't bet it. But again, it's 192.5. I guess it went up to 199.5 according to the chat. Here's the graph from props.cash for Tua passing yards. Decent amount. He's averaging 207 passing yards a game in these spots, going over in 7 of the last 10. Pittsburgh's allowing the 4th most passing yards per game at 261. 69% of quarterbacks have gone over their passing yard prop. So if the attempts are there, maybe the yards follow. But attempts is definitely my favorite Tua prop of the night. Riley Patterson overs. So I was looking at the Miami kicker. Over point after attempts or over 1.5 field goals. I'll show you the graphs. Patterson field goal. So this is Riley Patterson's recent field goals. He's gone over 1.5 field goals in 7 of his last 8 games, including 3 straight on the road. Pittsburgh's allowing the 5th most field goals per game and 7th most kicking points per game. 90% of kickers have gone over their field goal props in the last 10 games against Pittsburgh and 77% on the season. The reason that I was looking at the PATs, where is it? Was solely just because of this trend, 4 straight on the road in prime time. I don't know how much I love it, but it is a trend on the road in prime time for Riley Patterson PATs. Something to keep in mind there. I also am staying away, now that we're on like just the Miami kick, I am staying away from Jalen Waddle tonight. And I mentioned this. I mentioned Jalen Waddle earlier with Jared Block on the show. But I'm going to show you the Waddle home and away splits for prime time. Why did that not work? Oh, hold on. I have to get rid of some of the graphics. Here's Jalen Waddle at home in prime time, longest reception. Here's Jalen Waddle on the road in prime time, longest reception. I don't like doing receiving yards because it's so many, like, to have to, like, I don't want to worry about the quantity. I'd rather worry about quality. And Jalen Waddle's the only deep threat on this team. But there was nobody, like, there was no way. That was, again, home, road. And even his road numbers weren't that good this year, Jalen Waddle. Just on the road this season, he's gone under his longest reception prop in 6 of the last 10 road games overall. So I just have no interest in the Jalen Waddle props. I feel like you could find some value elsewhere than Jalen Waddle. Pat Freiermuth, I heard this went up to 17.5. You could look at my Pickett page. I bet it at 14.5 this morning. Pat Freiermuth is crushing it at home in prime time. That number of 14.5 was way too low. In prime time with Aaron Rodgers this year, he's gone over in 2 of 3 primetime games with 111 and 33 receiving yards. Then I even looked at Pat Freiermuth against defenses, bottom 10 against tight ends this year. He's averaging 39 receiving yards a game. He faced Cincinnati at 111, Seattle 31, Colts 27, and New England just 6 with 1 catch. But against Seattle, Indianapolis, and Cincinnati, he went over 27 plus. So this number is really freaking low. Yeah, I would take over 17.5 for Freiermuth. This is showing the graph for 17.5, actually. I just was looking this morning on Pickett, and on Pickett, you're able to see all of the different odds, and Pickett showed me a 14.5 at BetMGM, so I took the 14.5 over at BetMGM. But it's 17.5 in most spots now. 14.5 was a crazy number, but 17.5 still. Look, this is the chart for 17.5. He's going to have 20, at least, against this Miami defense. Miami is allowing the 4th most receiving yards per game to tight ends, 68 yards a game. 52% of tight ends have cleared their prop. Going with the over on Pat Freiermuth tonight. That position is struggling some of the most against the Miami Dolphins. Then there's Chris Boswell, who's at home. We love Chris Boswell at home. Kicking points was the only way to play it because field goals was heavily juiced. Go figure. At home, Chris Boswell's crushing it. He's gone over this in 5 of 7. And he's averaging 8 points a game in those spots. His last 10 home primetime games, Boswell's averaging 9 kicking points compared to 5.5 on the road. Kicking points is the prop that's gone over the most for kickers against Miami at 54%. So you could look to kicking points as well. Royal Locks of the Day brought to you by Pickett Sports. These are my favorite 3 props of the evening, and I would love to put them in a Prize Picks lineup tonight. Rasul Douglas over 4.5 total tackles. In case you missed it, he's averaging 5.5 total tackles in prime time. Rasul Douglas has also gone over this number in 8 of his last 10 primetime games. Going back to 2022, on the road in prime time, 7 of the last 10 went over. 64% of quarterbacks have gone over their tackle plus assist prop when going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is the position that goes over their total tackles prop the absolute most. Then we're going with Tua Tagovailoa over his pass attempts. 8 of his last 10, he's averaging 30 is what he's gone over. He's averaging 31 pass attempts per game. Pittsburgh allows the second most pass attempts per game. 77% of quarterbacks have gone over their pass attempt prop this year against the Steelers. And lastly, as I mentioned, Pat Freiermuth over 14.5 receiving yards. He's averaging 39 receiving yards a game this year against teams bottom 10 against tight ends. Even with Aaron Rodgers in prime time, went over in 2 of 3 with 111 and 33 yards. The 4th most receiving yards per game this year to tight ends, the Miami Dolphins defense. So we're going over on Pat Freiermuth, receiving yards. I'm going to take the experienced tight end who's been number 1 in Pittsburgh for the last few years at home in prime time for Pat Freiermuth.